I just finished my annual replay of Batman Arkham Origins, which means it's time to sit down and give my full, spoiler-free review of the game. My name is James, and I started this channel simply because I love video games. If that sounds like you, please subscribe to my channel so you can see more videos just like this one. Batman Arkham Origins is the forgotten and stranded game in the Arkham series that is not made by Rocksteady. I played the Xbox 360 version of the game on my Xbox One S. I kept most of the settings at their default value. However, I did change the remote control Batarang flight controls to be a little bit more comfortable. I played 15 hours over the course of about a week, and I had a really great time with it. Since I was coming off of Elden Ring and I've played this game before, I decided to go ahead and play it at the easy difficulty to give myself a fun and relaxing experience. With all that out of the way, let's get started with the positives. So this game is called Batman Arkham Origins. It's not an origin story of Batman. However, it is an origin story, his relationship with some of the villains in the game. And so from that point of view, I liked the story. I also find the concept of Black Mask or Roman Sionis putting a big bounty on Batman's head just because Batman is kind of like interrupting his operation. That kind of stuff felt like something that character would do. And then also it opened the door to have lots of additional assassin characters in there as well. Another aspect of the story that I find enjoyable is that while this isn't Batman's origin story, this is still a pretty early Batman. He's still kind of figuring out how this whole thing works, and you'll hear different characters in the game say that the Batman's not real or anything like that. It's completely different from Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, which are the two games that came before, where Batman is allowed into Arkham. He's recognized as a hero. He works side by side with Commissioner Gordon. And so it's just really cool to see this same Batman from a different perspective. Another positive I feel like is a pretty obvious one is the combat. The combat is pretty much the exact same as it was in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. It's one Batman against a whole bunch of other guys. Some of them will have armor or knives or baseball bats or shocky things, and you're trying to drive up your multiplier and get as many points as you can. Another thing that I enjoyed about this game is the investigations. Investigations were introduced in Arkham City. However, in this game, most of the investigations do just kind of the solutions to the investigations are just kind of handed to you, but I still think that makes the investigations enjoyable. And then the last positive that I have is that I feel like the side content, specifically all of the extra villains that they throw in there, I feel like are tied into the main story very effectively. Up next is the mixed. Top of the mixed category, I have to talk about the atrocious enemy AI. Specifically, the line of sight in Predator challenges, which I should have probably talked about Predator challenges during the positive section, but I forgot. They have absolutely no peripheral vision. Sometimes you can even be like almost out in front of them, but just a little bit too far away and they won't see you. And so that kind of stuff I felt like that was a little bit distracting from the game. However, that kind of stuff doesn't really bother me. I'm still going to enjoy all the Predator challenges. And then the enemy AI, there were good parts of it too. Some good stuff with the enemy AI. If you attack a group and only one of them has a gun and you take out the guy with a gun first, somebody else in the group will go and grab the gun off the ground and then try to shoot you. And I feel like that kind of stuff is really cool, that the weapons can kind of be traded between the different people. And it's a nice touch that was probably there in Arkham City and Arkham Asylum, and I just don't remember it. The next mixed for me is that kind of the side content overall. I said that they did a good job of tying in the side content to the main narrative, which is true. However, some of the side content just kind of felt like padding on the game. I didn't really feel the need to go and collect 200 Riddler data packs. And there was one side quest. It's so boring that I'm just going to go ahead and say what it is. At the very end of the game, that this is only activated post-game, where you get a call and someone is like, hey, these people just escaped from Blackgate. You need to go and track them down. And it puts 20 different map markers down. For every single one you go up to, there's a whole crowd of people you have to defeat. And then you have to talk to a guy and tell him that he's like going back to jail or something. And I found it to just kind of be like busy work at the end of the game. And I found it to be annoying enough that it kept me from actually 100%ing the game. And I wasn't about to do all the Riddler stuff either. I did all the Riddler stuff in Arkham Asylum, but with the guys that escaped from Blackgate and the Riddler stuff, I decided that the amount of time it would cost for me to do it. I played about 15 hours and did pretty much all of the side content except for the Riddler challenges and the Blackgate escapees. And I decided that it wasn't worth my time to do that and then get nothing for it. And then the last mixed that I have to bring up is the voice acting. I do think that all of the voice acting is good. However, it is noticeable that Kevin Conroy is not Batman. I don't know why they weren't able to get Kevin Conroy. It's possible that he was just busy doing something else. It's possible that they went with... Oh, I didn't even write down the guy's name. It's possible that they went with not Kevin Conroy just so that he would sound a little bit younger and that they didn't want him to sound like some aged Batman. But even though it is obviously not Kevin Conroy, I do still think the guy did a pretty good job, especially in the conversations that he has with Alfred over the course of pretty much the entire game. And then it's also worth pointing out that it is fun to hear some big names in there like Troy Baker, Nolan North, and Matt Mercer in different roles in the game as well. And so unfortunately that does bring us to the negatives, and I don't have very many. The first one is that I did experience quite a bit of lag and stutter, and the game just kind of felt like it was chugging when I was in big groups of enemies. Especially one of the side quests in the late game that deal with like gang wars. You'll have like 25 or 30 enemies on screen at a time, and it felt like it was having a hard time keeping up. The next one that I have written down is clipping and soft locking the game. Multiple times I would go into a building and need to go up an elevator, and I would hit the elevator button, and the elevator would start moving up. But I would just stay on the ground. I wanted there to be a button to, like, bring the elevator back down or something, and there's not. So every time that happened, I would just have to quit the game and reload a save. So that was kind of annoying as well. But if I'm being honest, in my 15 hours, I think that only happened about 2 or 3 times. And then my biggest issue with the game, this is kind of a two-parter. Partially that it's stranded on Xbox 360 and PS3, because I do feel like it is a very good game that deserves to kind of be brought forward, but also because this game came out when every single game in the world was getting a multiplayer mode kind of tacked onto it, the trophies are so screwed. There's a bunch of, as far as I know, unobtainable multiplayer trophies. And I'm also not a huge fan of there being missable achievements like beat this boss without taking any damage, or beat this specific predator challenge, like, without being spotted, especially when there's not as far as I know, there's not an option to like replay specific boss battles from the menu or anything. So if you want that trophy, you just have to start the game over and hope for the best. That's all I have to say about Batman Arkham Origins. Guys, in the comment section, please let me know what you think about this game. And as always, the best way to keep up with me is on Twitter and on Instagram at James_Solar. Thanks, guys.